Okay. Okay. Oh, hopefully that's still. Yeah. So welcome everybody to the Global Underscore, which celebrates contact improv teacher Nancy Stark-Smith, who helped to co-create and really expand contact improv. My name is Kelly Atkins, and I've been facilitating contact improv for about 10 years. I was introduced by a friend here in Sarasota who also introduced me to ecstatic dance and authentic movement. And through those years, it's something that I've practiced that there's a variety of reasons I love it. One is that it's a practice of being deeply present. And I love practices that take me into deeper awareness and that open up space to see things differently and to play and to be in that state of wonder. I also love it because I love the people I've met through it that travel through from other countries. And that's one of the cool things with the Underscore. There's over 90 people around the globe who are practicing exactly what we're doing today. And we've got a little ritual that we'll start with. Our Underscore jam begins after Costa Rica, and then at the very end we hand it off to Puerto Rico. So we'll do a little standing meditation in a few moments and let that be our ritual opening. So the Underscore is the name of the practice of what we do during a contact jam that Nancy Stark-Smith observed through the years from the 1970s to the 1990s. She noticed that there were certain states that people got into at different times during a jam, as well as different tools that came out of her observation. So that's what we'll explore. There's 20 tools and there's 7 states. And we'll just go through those and then we'll go right into a jam and we'll be able to practice them for about 30 minutes and then have our closing. But I wanted to open with, this is a quote by Nancy Stark-Smith, something that she really stood for. She said, "More peace. Flexibility, which is improvisation, is based on a direct sense of being on the physical earth, in your physical body, communicating with respect, intelligence, curiosity, compassion, humor, and love across boundaries of race, language, ideology, dance form, cultures, subcultures, generations, clarity, confidence, risk, and respect, and more cooperation, imagination, vitality, high art play, adventure in work, responsibility, and humor, a sense of independence and interdependence." For the Global Underscore, we invite attunement to the social, political, economic, and cultural contexts in which we each and others are situated and in which each and others practice in the Underscore. We invite awareness of oppression and inequity, acknowledging that oppression limits us all and prevents some from participating fully or at all in the Underscore, contact improv, and dance in general. One more quote here. "There is no such thing as true stillness." We'll do a standing exercise that Steve Paxton called the tiny dance, and it's a practice based on finding that deep inner stillness. But this is a quote about no such thing as absolute stillness. As you stand and bring your attention to what is happening in your body and under your skin, you might begin to notice small shifts of weight in your feet, your breath, and moving through you and or the temperature of your skin. We'll practice that in just a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. But as I'm sharing this, feel welcome at any time to doodle, to stretch, to drink water, to take a moment to pause and sit back, anything that you need to do so that you don't feel stressed or stiff in taking information in, that it can become almost like listening to music and just finding comfort. So the underscore, the very first glyph, looks like this, and it's right at the top. It's like 2 parentheses and a space in the middle. And she calls that arrival. So it's arriving energetically is exactly what she calls it, arriving energetically. Let's see if I can find this description of this. Arriving energetically is bringing your attention, your presence, your will into the room, bringing your focus into the present situation and arriving into the present moment. Now the next one is the 2 parentheses, and there's a dot in the middle. And it's called arriving physically. Arriving physically is arriving into sensation, focusing your attention on your physical sensations, the textures and the locations of sensation throughout your body, the rise and the fall of your breathing, the sensation of muscle tissue stretching, the action inside the joint, the touch of your body against the floor, waking up to the encyclopedia of sensations in the body. I am reminded of Steve Paxton's image of using the mind as a lens into the body, magnifying sensation with attention. Arriving physically is arriving into body time, where there's enough time to register your sensations and absorb their information and nutritional value into your system, rather than just accomplishing a physical task. Become present to your body. So hopefully, just with that invitation of those 2, you can kind of sense some changes in your body already, arriving energetically and then arriving physically. The next one is called assembly, and it's 6 arrows pointing into the center. And there's nothing in the center at all, but it's called assembly. Let's see if I can find, it's before that one. Oh yeah, she calls it in the book a powwow, so that's another word for it, powwow, yeah. Taking time to check in with others who will be practicing the score, to introduce ourselves, to set time parameters, to mention any physical conditions we want others to become aware of, and any other necessary practical information. It's also time to plant seeds into your practice for the day, specific ideas and curiosities that anyone in the group is bringing into the underscore that day. It is not always necessary to have seeds or to have this part of a jam, but usually we do. So I wanted to open it up now to each of you. If you want to share your name, and if you have a seed for today, you can share that. Also share something if there's something going on in your body you want everyone to know.
I'm Alina. Hi. I feel energetic today.
Nice.
I'm Janelle, and my intention today, my seed is presence. Stay present.
Right on.
I'm Amy, and I would say energetically feeling chaotic and distracted and a little out, like all over the place, and physically everything in
So, like, my feet hurt, my back hurts, my body just is aching on a daily basis.
Is there a seed too that you want to set? Is it a seed intention, or, and you don't have to have one?
I just want to pay attention to what, to be aware of what my body needs. Like, it's like, I hurt, and I'm like, whatever, and you're ignoring me. And maybe I just, spend this dance paying attention to what my body actually needs, and maybe even if I decide to be so kind as to give it that. Usually
Beautiful.
I ignore it, but perhaps today I won't ignore it.
Awesome. And my name's Kelly. My intention today, my seed, is to work with tension. So with all of that, I'm also reminded to share about consent. So the basic consent for every contact jam is you are always at choice. So you're, as much as you touch, or whether you don't touch anyone at all, or how much or where on your body you touch, you want to make sure that you're giving consent, that it feels okay. And if it's not, that you could either move away, you can noodle your body, you can say no, you could do prayer hands. That's another kind way to kind of back away. But I also want to bring notice that you're always part of the jam, even if you're sitting on the sidelines and rolling on the roller. Like, there's no like you're in it, and if you're touching, then you're doing it. That's not really what the contact improv is, that you're just in the room. And even when you leave the room and go to the bathroom, you're still part of the jam. Or you take a moment to go out and touch the sun with your eyes or something like that. That it's all part of it. And we open to allow all of those choices. And it gives a lot more freedom. So there's that part of consent. And then the other part is that when we move near another body, we're going to go through a lot of tools of things to sense and feel into with our eyes, our ears, our touch. So you want to find that there's a yes and not force your will on another. Like, try to feel if they're moving towards you a little, that would probably be a yes. And then how long you engage in a dance. A no, like when you end the dance, is just as important as when you enter it. And you're always at, like, a no doesn't mean it's bad. It just means like it's like the end of a sentence of that one contact moment. Sometimes in contact, we could be in contact with one person the whole dance. And like that would be really long and a long contact. But sometimes that feels like that's right. Like, I've been in dances where I've been with one person 30 minutes and other times not with anybody in the room. So just know that a no isn't a bad thing, and it's not being turned away. It's just that the other person felt something change in their body. And we're honoring that, honoring everyone's bodies and choices. So the next one we are at after assembly is called preambulation. And it's a square, it's actually a rectangle. And it has squigglies, 3 squigglies and an arrow up. Yeah, I like looking at this because she really thought about each of these glyphs. I mean, she studied jam after jam after jam, and the symbols were really important to her, that they would be part of the underscore.
I might have missed what you were saying about them. How do you use these symbols? How do you apply this? What is this?
It's another way of learning, of getting them into your body, especially getting them. There's a way that symbols are translated into our brain that's different than me saying what they are. So by drawing them, seeing what they are, contemplating them, they come into our body more deeply and in a different way. That's a super good question. I don't think I've ever seen her asked that question, so I'm kind of like feeling into why she would have that. I know it's important to her.
How do you use it? Okay, we got symbols, but what do we use them for?
Yeah. It's a lot of the contact improv is open question. A lot of times they'll say, everybody come up with a question, now let's do the jam. And it's like continuing to question with no real answer other than what you come up with yourself. So the preambulation means circulating through the dance space by walking, running, or other simple variations. Time to see the room and the environment outside the room, to see each other and to feel your own movement through space. Arriving into your movement, the space, and the community of people you're practicing with. This is especially useful after the powwow, and even if there hasn't been a meeting, it's a nice way to begin the next progression of states. And I think we'll do that right now for just a few moments. So we'll preamble through the space.
Mind if I just share who I am and my intention?
Yes. How did I skip over you? I'm so sorry.
We only let women talk, sorry.
It's not through ed.
I'm
It's not through
joking.
ed
I'm
tonight.
joking. I'm totally joking.
I know.
Sorry, no matter.
I'm Aaron, and my intention is just come back to my usual self. And integration.
Beautiful. So let's take 5 minutes of, we'll move through each of those. So we'll take 5 minutes and we're going to be both know when you're arriving energetically, know when you're arriving physically. We're skipping this assembly because we just did that, and we're going right to preambulation.
Does preambulation need to require walking?
It doesn't say that. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it just requires,
Movement.
it requires some movement, and it probably, from what I understand, it's awareness of who's here, what the space feels like, looks like, smells like. And it's a little different than the, arriving energetically is a little
Any qualities that you're noticing that come forward in the preambulation? Any awarenesses or things you enjoyed about it or that were scary or hard? I love that they name it distinctly as one section, because sometimes in contact improv, I think, especially when we go right into what the next one is, that's called skinosphere, there can be so much connection and bonding with the earth that there's a lot of stillness there, and sometimes I think the stillness can almost become stuckness. And naming that preambulation stage, I think, helps to be like, okay, now I'm going to preambulate. I'm going to kind of like move through the inertia that can kind of, and it's so just that there's a stage of that is like a good knowing, awareness of when you come to a jam, that if it feels like there's a lot of stillness, you can say, I haven't preambulated. I need to preambulate. And I'm just imagining also there's a certain quality of consciousness to be in a room of others who are doing the same thing, and there's no music, we're just noticing awareness, sharing space and being present. And there's a beauty in that, simplicity. Okay, so the next one is called skinosphere. I want to show you this picture up close because it's a little different. So the skinosphere it's this little circle with dot in it. And she specifically said bonding with the earth. So there's 0 and a dot, and then there's an arrow up and an arrow down. Mobilization and activating the mass. And there's a circle, and it looks like it's just like dots inside. Skinosphere. Yeah, I think I'm going to go read it right from her book. But the skinosphere, I believe, is the awareness of the space just outside your skin over your whole body. And in particular, like in the back of your body, back of the neck, back of the ears, places we ordinarily don't pay attention to. Let me read it exactly. Skinosphere. A made-up term, a skinosphere refers to the movement arena inside the boundary of the skin. That is the sensation of movement and change inside your body. Turning on and becoming aware of the movement inside the body mass. All the wriggling, weight pouring, shifting, lengthening, contracting, falling, torquing, flowing, compressing, elating, sequencing, settling, exploding, imploding movement activity that happens inside your body, but that doesn't move you through space very much. There are two main aspects of the skinosphere that I've identified so far. So the skinosphere is everything that's happening under your skin, even when it looks like you're still. Pulsing. Yes. Can you describe interoception?
Interoception is really just your ability or awareness or sense of your body's organs, muscles, fascia, everything that is inside the skin, including the skin, and what it's doing, how it's moving.
Beautiful. Yeah, I would say that's what she meant. So and then she breaks it down. Bonding with the earth. Releasing your weight into the ground, establishing a feelable sensation of the mass and weight of your body and its connection with the support from the mass of the earth. One way, surrendering your weight to the floor, lying down, releasing muscle tone and tension, letting go, letting down. Feeling the sensation of falling through the body and the complementary sensation of support that's coming up from the mass of the earth. The support rising up from the ground in equal measure to meet your release. Radiating support throughout your mass, your skeleton, resting in this sensation of release, falling and support. This sensation of release and support can be felt in many positions, including standing upright, feeling the small dance of standing. When the body releases excess muscle tension to find balanced skeletal support and to experience the small adjustments the body makes reflexively to remain balanced on two legs. This is the small dance, a primary reference to the training of contact improv. So give yourself a few moments to play with that, connecting into the earth. And especially feeling as you surrender or release, the earth meets you exactly and equally in that. Yeah. Feel welcome to play with it or to be in different relationship. And as you continue to experiment, I'll read about mobilizing, agitating the mass, stimulating the skinosphere in another way, gently shaking and loosening the mass, actually engaging and generating your own movement. Rather than a passive release to gravity, mobilizing different mass areas, the thighs, the pelvis, rib cage, or head, soothing and stimulating the body through motion, energizing and separating the particles of the mass for greater articulation and readiness later on. Mobilizing can come before, after, or alternate with bonding with the earth. So I think of that like when I see children play, just with their hands or different parts of their body. And then there's always moments where they're just pausing. And it's like such an important part of play, the pause. And then re-engaging with moving the mass. You might even visualize that little glyph, how it showed all those dots in the circle inside the skin starting to disseminate, create more space. It's like shaking loose salt in a salt shaker that gets chunky and you gotta shake it loose. So good for the fascia. And as you're still exploring any way you'd like to, the next one is called kinosphere. So skinosphere has one dot, circle and one dot. Kinosphere has two circles, a circle, another circle, and a dot. The difference is that kinosphere is extending your movement, your energy, your attention, your awareness, and your curiosity and desire into the space around the body. Moving out into the environment from the skinosphere into the space around the body by increasing tone, stretching, reaching, condensing, and pushing. The kinosphere, coined by Rudolf Laban, is the sphere or the bubble space around the body through which one can reach and move one's limbs without changing the placement of one's center. In the underscore, the kinosphere is divided into low and high. I experience a marked difference between these zones when I'm warming up toward full mobility through a spherical space. So the skinosphere is that inside of the body. The kinosphere, we're starting to move and energize the outside of the body. And she talked about low and high kinosphere. I want to show you this little glyph again because this one's unique too, and it's very little. Yeah. By tone, I would say tone would be to balance, so there's not like a muscle chunk or a stiffness in one part, a balance of tone, like the front and the back of the arm in a reach or in any kind of position, a tone. I think that's what she means by that. The low kinosphere and high. So low is when you're moving close to the earth, and the high is when you're moving up through space. So these are really important through contact improv. It's one of the things that make it so different than regular dancing. So regular dancing tends to move kind of front and back and side, where this moves like down and around and up and back. Very dynamic. But this is the high kinosphere is that little line on top, and the low kinosphere is the little line on the bottom.
Feeling all these things. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah,
Right?
I feel all of this in my dances.
It's such like little dropping all this in because all of it, you already know almost all of the stuff we've done through the years, but now there's like an exact name, and different parts of your consciousness will come into it. It might even visit you without you like thinking, I'd like to do this low kinosphere. It might visit you, and you might be like, I'm doing the low kinosphere. It's visiting me.
Cool.
She talked a lot about too, making sure to honor like all the people that have danced on this part of the world before we were here, like honoring dance and who came before us that danced. And she talked a lot about like languages of dance and how it's transferred, how its language is given out. That there's more, that you'll receive more than what is actually being said. Like this, this is her voice, this is her passion of 50 years' work. So, like a little of her essence is coming through, or, kind of opens a channel, something like that.
Like gratitude to your teachers.
Yes, exactly that.
Gratitude to your teachers. Or like, you could even take it old school and say to your elders, like the people those that came before us.
Sometimes in our society nowadays, things feel like they're transmitted so quickly, like information is so rapidly available, and it's not transmitted with as much reverence for where did this information come from, why did they generate that. I love that she values that. It feels like there's something that can get missed otherwise. And like, when we can Google things and get, ChatGPT, we can get all this information, but it's different than when it's like right from the person's, in her own writing with these little glyphs. Like there's something transmitted there that feels important. And it's even honoring just like the process of learning instead of it being so fast and like shallow level learning. It's like there's like a depth of learning. Like she spent her lifetime doing this. I have such respect for that. So a couple of more that we're moving into. Okay, so this one is called expanding and traveling the kinesphere. And here's the bubble. It's like a sun. It has a dot and a circle and another circle, and then arrows pointing out. So this one says, expanding and traveling your kinesphere, extending your attention and mobility through more space, either by expanding the size of your sphere of movement and awareness, or by traveling that sphere through space. Expanding and traveling are distinct, but can overlap. For instance, you might be moving within a small sphere close to the body, and might enjoy rolling or traveling within the cocoon of space through the rest of the room. Or conversely, you might enlarge your perception of and exchange with the space to include the whole room, but continue to move in one area and not travel much. Kind of like you were talking about. Like, do I have to move a lot? No. Yeah. Or you can expand and travel. This expansion or contraction refers to both the range of the reception and your transmission of energy and activity, your intake and output, perception and action. This one's called expanding and traveling the kinesphere. I do too. And there's another one that goes hand in hand with this too, with the kinesphere. This one's called overlapping kinesphere. And it's got two little bubbles that overlap with bubbles inside of it and dots. Like eyeballs, like glasses almost, but they overlap. In a room full of people, warming up in this manner, the kinesphere of the dancers, the space through which their energy, movement, and attention are circulating, will overlap one another. This sensation of moving past and through someone's space and being passed stirs the pot, generates energy, and primes dancers for further connecting. In an overlapping kinesphere, you're moving through the landscape of different movement qualities and characteristics without interpreting the information yet, taking the ride like a hawk over a summer hillside. So I think we'll keep going forward and then we'll go right through these and do a jam with them. Does that feel good? Okay. The next one is called grazing. I do too. So this is an interesting glyph. It's sort of like wiggle squiggles in like a cloud shape. But there's like an X in between. A couple of X's thrown in there. It's grazing. And grazing is warming up to interaction with others and the environment through a series of short connections, perceptual connections. You see a coincidence. And physical connections. Your path of movement comes together with another mover's in a confluence and a touch. Noticing connections that you are part of and those that occur between others. Allowing your solo dance to pass into, through, and between any connections in any order. This is grazing. So grazing is also noticing other connections that are happening in the room, other energy fields. And then there's a handful here of ways that we connect. So the connections is, the glyph is an X, just a regular X. And the ways that we connect are touch, which is like, it has an X with two eyeballs, like two dots. Attraction, which is two arrows going in. I think that says does that say repulsion? Repulsion, which is two arrows out. coincidence, 2 arrows going the same way, and an intersection, 1 arrow up, 1 to the side.
What was the overall?
These are all connections, ways that we connect. Attract, repel, coincidence, intersection. There's a bunch more here. Confluence. That's an arrow, like an arrow going on a diagonal. A divergence. 2 people going in one direction and they both split in opposites. Contrast. An arrow going up and an arrow going sideways. Influence, and that's like a vibration, like a lightning bolt, and then a line and another lightning bolt. So it's like someone creates a song or a hum in the room and all of a sudden everybody's humming it. Influence. Empathy or resonance, which is everyone's doing exactly the same thing. A collision, exact opposites, crash. And then a tangent. Over here is engagement. It's a circle with an X. I'm going to read those ones. Development, it's part of once you make contact with someone and you're at that stage of it's just developing. Then there's a resolution or disengagement, like a moment of disengagement. And then the final one is recirculation through the score. And that's if, say you have this disconnection, and then you just circulate. It's almost like preambulate. You go back to circulating through the score to see what else is there. But the engagement one I thought stood out as an interesting one. After a while of grazing through short touches and other connections, one allows oneself to stay or be drawn further into a touch connection and to fully engage. So that's what engagement, when you're fully in, like something, yeah. You're no longer on your way somewhere, tasting short exchanges along the way. You're in until it's over. This is engagement. We often use the first long engagement of the score as an opportunity to focus on the development of a contact improv dance. Great. So those are the stages. And then just some other pieces before we go into the jam. She has an open square. She calls it an open score. And that is, now we are jamming physically, energetically, compositionally, experientially. Connections can be any length, can be contact improvisation or other sorts of improvisational movement encounters based on timing, space, image, form, state, architecture, musicality. This can include solo or group engagements. Forms arise, develop, end, transition, and continue in a constant flux of life and form through myriad dynamics and levels of agreement and individuation in the space. And there's the very last part of the jam has a final resolution of the room, which is a square with a star in it. At some point, it is announced 5 minutes to final resolution, or understood by previous agreement that we have only a few minutes left for dancing. This means it is time to begin one's last chapter and within the next minutes to arrive at and in one's current activity, bringing its resolution of development of one's own movement and dance throughout the entire length of the score. This resolution can occur as stillness or as a sustaining of the current movement image that is not allowing it to develop further. So it's just like when it ends. So she names it that there's a state when there's 5 minutes left and you disengage from whatever's happening and pull away, and then you disengage from the whole pattern as another whole part of it. So I think it's interesting that she named those as 2 different pieces at the ending. Because they are important. Like there's a lot of things that can happen in the disengagement that I think take a few moments to process and then disengage from the whole to get ready to harvest. Like it's a psychological state. And then the very last part is reflection and harvest. And she has it like a book with 2 squares, and sharing and thanksgiving, gratitudes at the very end. So those are all the cycles and the tools of what we go through in a jam. Any questions or anything?
I want to buy the book.
Right?
I like all the connections.
Yeah.
They're all what we experience in real life, like with people.
Totally.
Like we meet them, sometimes we crash into each other, sometimes we just see each other and go the opposite ways. Sometimes it's all the possibilities that we can have with people.
I love it. I love those ways of connecting too. Like honoring that that is equal connection as actually touching or being lifted or flying, or like that is also part of it. Yeah, me too. So let's go through. I'll see how much time we have. And, oh, wait, there's a few more things just to bring out. Oh, these are some funny things. So this one is called streaming, and it's just a whole bunch of dots. And I'll describe it, read it with her. Streaming is a sense of ongoing flow of your energy and life force. Continues as long as you are alive, whether you're happy or sad, engaged or bored, alone or with others, clear or unclear about what you're doing. Underneath it all, you're streaming. Awareness of this and connection with it can become useful at various points along the way. For me, a visual equivalent is the streaming particles of light on the screen before a film starts. The leader of the start of the real and ongoing field of little dots of light moving forward, not yet focused into a particular image. Breathing seems to be connected with streaming. The constriction of one's can likewise affect the other. This is another reason to keep your breathing comfortable and flowing. Reminding yourself to breathe or to consider streaming can be especially helpful if you're feeling dull, lost, panicked, or stuck. It can help you suspend disbelief and judgment and begin noticing what is happening in your inner and outer environment to relax and feel what attracts you. So that's a nice tool to lean into. She has a button, she calls it the idiot button. And it's a circle and a circle. It says, press it whenever things have gotten too complex. It simplifies and reduces everything to the basics: presence, breath, sensation. And now what? The idiot button is a handy alternative to completely shutting down.
I'll be using that today.
I love that. Because it honors that we're always in these changing states, and it's not about perfection. You know, like it's just about showing up for whatever states we're in, and like it's all part of it. I love that.
Yeah, I could be snoring.
Yeah, yeah. I love that Contact Improv holds space for all of it. And then there's the gap. This is a good one. Gaps are moments in the improvisation where you experience a temporary absence of reference, a feeling of being between form and not sure what's happening or what to do. Have you felt the gap before?
I thought I missed it, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, wait.
Yes.
What should I do now?
Yes, the gap. Yeah, that moment of I don't know where I'm going or what is going on here. I don't know, yeah, what's happening. It's a pretty potent space.
I find that I've noticed that sometimes when I'm on the ground and then I'm like, okay, there's something shifted. I don't want to be on the ground anymore, but I don't really know how I'm going to get up at this point. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, what am I doing? I sit here and I'm like
Wh-
rolling to get up. I'm like, am I crawling up? What do I do? Sometimes I
Yes.
find it in that kind of thing a lot.
Beautiful. Beautiful space of contemplating all the choices that you have. I love it. Okay. So, what's your vote? Would you like to have music during the jam or no music? We can do either.
But I'm open to trying.
Yes? No?
Yeah.
Both?
Well, for me, it's like I prefer music, but for me, there's also a challenge in no music. So,
Right.
I love it.
I'm tired and gonna be snoring. Do you wanna listen to my snoring or not? That would be my option.
I'll split it in half, exactly in half, and then I'll put music in. Okay, I love it. And we'll just, I'll give us,
I've never been to a contact improv or anything that we didn't have music, so I don't really know how to do that.
great.
That's why it's cool, because it's just, you're just moving. It actually doesn't influence you as much when you don't have music, I found.
I think so too. I love it. I'll stop us, I'll say it's time when it's 10 minutes before the end, so that we'll have time for 10 minutes to doodle out a response of what this felt like today. We'll doodle this response. All right.
keep on trying. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna leave for our kiss. Can you hear? To share this with you. I know I can feel it too. You say you don't feel my all I need. Oh, you say. It was only a few days, but now I feel like everything is great. You said it was just a game, some said it was just for the day. I'm not gonna leave for our kiss. Can you hear?
So taking the awareness into the moment that you completely disengage. And giving yourself a couple of minutes there. Could also do self-care if you need to use the bathroom or get water. And if you disengage pretty quickly and you're ready, you could get your piece of paper and doodle some kind of your own glyph that makes sense of what this practice felt like. is over here, we decided. And over here's Puerto Rico. So Costa Rica, we're receiving from them because this is done around the globe at 90 different locations, and it's spiraling around. And so they gave us an exact location of where Sarasota, Florida is. And they said, we're going to be right after Costa Rica, so we're receiving for Costa Rica. I'll read us a little bit here through the tiny dance, and then we'll end with Puerto Rico, who goes after us. The small dance, the stand. Oh, I got it. Okay, so Costa Rica, south. This south. Perfect.
The sun is there, so yeah. This is
It's like in the angle.
trying to go south.
Okay. Okay.
And then where does that go to?
I love it. I love it. Orienting. That's the whole thing, is it orienting. Relax deep into the cone of the eye socket and imagine a line that runs between the ears. That's where the skull rests. Make the motion very small for yes. This rocks the skull on the top vertebrae, the atlas. You have to intuit the bones like a donut. The sensation around it defines it. Do the motion for a no. And between these two motions of yes or no, you can determine the length of your vertebrae. Ballooning of the lungs. Breathe from the bottom of the lung up to the clavicle. Can you expand the ribs out and up and back easily? Defining the diaphragm in terms of sensation. Bottom of the lung. 2 domes of muscle. So each breath, you're massaging the intestine. What the diaphragm is doing is a signal to the rest of the body. The sky is above and the earth is below. So we'll just take a moment to breathe, receiving from Costa Rica, gratitude for this practice of contact improv. Nancy Stark-Smith and Steve Paxton, thank you for your work. And now we're going to deliver it over to Puerto Rico. Is that still this way? Okay. You've been swimming in gravity since the day you were born. Every cell knows where down is, easily forgotten. Your mass and the Earth's mass calling to each other. Upward force of the bones. Shoulder blades that fall down the back, relaxing the intestines into the bowl of the pelvis. In the direction the arms are hanging, without changing that direction, do the smallest stretch you can feel. Can it be even smaller? Can you do less? The initiation of the stretch along the length of the bones, in the direction the force is already going. The small dance, you're relaxing and it's holding you up. The muscles keeping the weight throughout the skeleton. Shifting weight from leg to leg, interface. Taking weight, compression, and stretching along the line of compression. Center of the small dance. And we pass it on to Puerto Rico with love and gratitude. Blessings for this practice. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Mm-hmm.